people connected with that so much that people were getting tattoos of it immediately.
That's crazy.
I think the tally count is 18 people have that message tattooed on their body.
Oh my God.
That's
which
insane.
is absolutely mind-blowing to me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
This is the Late Night Motor Club.
Only podcast you care about. I'm Alex.
I'm Steven.
And I'm Tyler. I almost said I'm Steven, but I'm not Steven.
No, you're not.
I'm Steven.
I'm Batman.
I'm the real Steven.
But what's going on?
So, yeah.
Good week? Good bad week? No?
Bad week. Not good week for me.
No, what happened?
No. So we went to cars cumulatively, the three of us. If you were to check on our IG stories, follow us
we
all
did.
on Instagram. We all went to South San Clemente Cars and Coffee.
South OC Cars and Coffee.
Why does that feel like
Shout
a
out.
month ago?
It feels like so long ago, but it was just Sunday.
Okay.
Or Saturday. It was Saturday.
Oh, it was Saturday.
It was.
Anyway.
I don't even know my days.
It was a good time. We're all tired. Sure.
It was a good time until I left.
Oh, yeah.
My motorcycle broke down on the freeway, the one that I just said that I got last week.
Ooh.
The bicycle, and now you have to get what I said last week, a bus pass.
Yes. Unfortunately.
That's a bummer, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? I saw you brought the Trabant out.
Yeah. Yeah, I brought the Trabant out to Cars and Coffee.
We have a sick clip of that, too.
It's the perfect car if you want a bunch of old dudes coming out asking like, oh, what is that? Or I haven't seen one of those in 20 years back in Germany.
I think I got a good clip that I'm going to insert right here.
Rolled a sick clip of Steven talking to a bunch of old dudes.
Yeah, it's fun. But I love that car.
Oh,
But
yeah.
how about you, Alex?
Not the best, you know. I found out I kind of got to redo some stuff in the rear. I messed up, but I don't want to get into that right now. But yeah, let's just pretend like everything's A-okay.
Everything's A-okay. Well, if you guys caught our last podcast, we are diving into the three of us, giving you guys a background story of our lives, how we got started in the car community, and really an in-depth story. So everything in the future is just a little more cohesive, so you know who the three of us are.
Yeah, just so you're not lost listening to people who you're like, what is there? What
do you guys do?
Who are they?
Who are you?
And last week, we dove deep into Alex's life.
Let's pause. Okay.
And not go back there.
If you haven't seen it,
Go
just
check
go
it
back to the past episode.
Yeah, that was me. And this week, we're doing the one and only
Steven.
Mr. Typical Steven.
Hi.
All right. But yeah, we're going to try to get to the nitty gritty of who you are as a car guy, dude. Not really.
Oh,
we're just going to ask
no.
some basic questions,
Yeah.
kind of get a feel for a little bit of your history.
Yeah.
But,
So take us way back, Steven.
yeah, I started with my first car, so you got to start with your first car.
Yeah.
Well, my first car is still kind of my main car, but we'll go back some more. So, starting from the start, I've always been kind of around cars, always liked cars, starting with like little Hot Wheels or Matchbox cars, just starting from there. My dad always had Audis and stuff like that, so that's kind of what influenced the like of Audi and VW cars into what I like. And then I'm Hungarian as well, so that also influences the European aspect too. But from a young age, I've always liked
Actual Euro guy.
actual Euro guy. So from a young age, I've always liked Audi VW. I've always liked VW GTIs from a young age.
You want to share your first email?
Well, it's still my email, but it's VW GTI Flush. So I made that when I was like 11, and it's still my email, and it works because I actually did end up getting a VW GTI.
Was it flush?
It was pretty flush.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, and then fast forward to 16, 17 years old, started actually driving, got my license when I was 16, all into cars, was ready to get my first car. I was looking for cars to buy when I was like 14, and I knew I wouldn't be able to have one yet.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got my first car, bought it when I was 17, and it is my VW GTI, my 2011 GTI that is my main project to the state. And bought it completely bone stock, like nothing done to it. It was a one owner, just daily driver, highway mile car. And from there, that was kind of my entrance into doing car-related things. Started modifying it. So 3 months in, put my first mod onto it. Just did some basic stuff in terms of exhaust and LED lights, stuff like that. And then I dove in a little bit deeper as started going.
Is the LED the light bar?
I did, the light bar.
Or are you talking about?
So the LED light bar in the front.
First thing.
That was my first mod on the car.
Nice.
Because a group of friends were all off-road kids, so they had their lifted tacos and stuff like that. So I wanted to fit in with my GTI, so I had
Put a light bar on it.
Which, don't get me wrong, so I wired it into my high beams, so it's just on my high beams.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
That
So
is
I flick my high
dangerous.
beams, it turns on. I drive the canyons, and it's awesome. It lights up the canyons like daytime pretty much. So it is beneficial, and I have used it in terms of an actual function piece. It wasn't just for looks or to blind people.
That's what I was just about to bring up. Have you ever intentionally just,
With oncoming traffic, I don't, because it's
Actually dangerous. Yeah.
But yeah, then moving forward into there, that's around the time when I first got my car. Started going to car meets. Like in the previous episodes, how I mentioned the OCVW car meets, just some VW meets, stuff like that. And then from there, I started getting into wanting to really modify my car. So looking at different modifications, air suspension, wheels, performance mods, all that type of stuff. And I'd say about 10 months into having that car, I put the car on air suspension.
which is crazy, because I kind of want to talk about that. Most kids, when you start driving and they start modifying their cars, everybody kind of finds their own way into the scene. However, when you usually come into the scene, you don't have a gang of money, or you don't really know that much. You know what I'm saying? So you're sometimes, like for me, I didn't even know air suspension was a thing. And usually people find out like cut springs, coilovers, but you literally just went, bagging it.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit of a flex.
Yeah.
It was something where, like how we've talked about in past episodes, I wanted to make sure that I was doing things right. Mm-hmm. So I was doing the research. I was saving money so I could get things that I actually want, and then also be practical with it, because another
Practical?
Whack.
Another thing with it is like my dad was kind of watching the whole process, and he was kind of like saying, that's not very smart of you to do that. Like even the air suspension was something where it's just like, don't do that, but at least it's practical to where you could air up the car to go up driveways instead of scraping everywhere.
Yeah, I've seen your driveway.
Yeah,
it's air suspension only driveway.
Yeah, it sucks. But yeah, so branching into like talking about the next part of kind of mods with the car, air suspension. Then I got my like first set of wheels, which was a set of like VMRs, changed the look a little bit, and really rock that kind of bigger wheel, tucked air fitment for a while with the car, still stock body, and then just did a bunch of things over the next year of kind of making it a little bit different, still keeping it stock body, that same fitment, but doing a bunch of like unique things around the car that popped to me. Might not be as visible to, let's say, anybody watching or anything like that, or anybody seeing the car, but it was something unique to me, where it's like I did some unique stuff on the front bumper that changed the look of it, some custom things.
I'm going to stop you right there, actually, just because I feel like that is such a part of, you might not have done it intentionally at the time, I don't know, but that feels like such a part of the Euro community, is like these very, very fine details that like 99% of people will just not even notice, but that's like what makes them so special.
Like a little thing where it's like I color matched a valence on my front bumper to the color of the car, where most people wouldn't notice that, but I'm like, that looks so much better like that, and I view it like that. So I did a bunch of things like that. I need to stop saying like that.
Well, Steven, I got a question for you. All three of us kind of found the car scene a very different way. What influenced your style? Because when it comes to your car, I think all three of the variations had a specific look to it, you know?
Especially in those like early times when you're first, like you said, you're putting on the air suspension for the first time and all that stuff. Like did you have other people that you were looking towards or anything that you were drawing inspiration, or was it just like the overall kind of Euro scene?
It was kind of the overall Euro scene and just kind of putting my own style on things where I didn't really have a figurehead build behind things in terms of I want to make my car look like that. No, it was kind of something where just making it unique, my own, putting my own spin on things. That's where a lot of parts I didn't just buy. I tried to make my own, creating custom parts, put my unique touch that nobody's ever done on this platform in terms of little things. Like on my front end, when I had the V1 setup, I had my fog light grills, and it's honeycomb like grill from factory, and I shaved it so there's no honeycomb on it, and then I made the middle grill section a straight section grill instead of a honeycomb grill.
Okay.
So little things like that, to where removing the honeycomb look on the front end and making straight sectioned or pretty much flat areas up front so there's no honeycomb. Things like that normally people wouldn't see.
Just making it like a little cleaner.
Yeah, like, make it cleaner, my own, unique, something that hasn't really been done or isn't done often, where I wanted to create my unique touch in things, and that's where it branched into the other versions of the car, where it's just doing that unique style, but then exponentially getting crazier and crazier and crazier.
Now, I'm assuming this is around the same time for you, but since I wasn't over here, I don't know. Were Euro kids even like over here really looking up to like Solo type stuff, like the big East Coast Euro meets, or you guys have your own thing out here?
Kind of had our own things out here. Of course, there was that inspiration from those meets as well. Like H2O was originally kind of Euro only, heavily VW based and all that.
An awesome show.
Rest in peace, H2O. He died.
Never the same.
2016.
Yeah.
But there's a big heavy West Coast influence with a lot of shows like Woost, Occupy Big Bear.
Woost. I completely forgot about that.
So there's a big heavy influence on the West Coast as well in terms of style. Like there's some crazy builds that I remember back then when I first started getting into it. Even before I got the GTI, I have pictures saved of on my phone of people's builds, and then like a year into having the GTI, I start talking with that person on Instagram, and I'm like, "Oh, I remember I saved the photo of your car like
that same dude
5 years ago. That's pretty cool."
That's sick.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, Steven, I want to know, because I think all three of us kind of share this in a different aspect. I keep saying that because I feel like we all kind of have a different experience. But what in particular sent you off the deep end? What I mean by that is like going full balls to the walls. I'm going to rip this whole thing apart, make custom aero, do all these ridiculous things.
So this goes into the V1 to V2 transition with the GTI. I had, at this point, I would say 2 to 3 years into the GTI, and I just really wanted something different. I've always wanted something wide as well, where it's like there was a handful of like wide body GTIs at that time, not many, and I just wanted that look of having something super wide, especially in a car where it's a hatchback, where the sides are very flat. There's not much shape to the sides of the car, where the common nickname for GTIs is they're an egg.
Egg.
Yeah.
Happy Easter, dude.
I wanted to, yeah.
I was waiting for you to dip your car in some shit. All right, anyways, continue.
I wanted to add shape and definition to it, and at the time, like doing a lot of research in terms of like what process can I take to get to that point. What wide body can I, which the wide bodies were very limited. The kit that I had, the Ingo Noack kit, was pretty much the only kit made for that car that I could buy at that time.
What year was this again?
This was, it was a while ago, like 2018.
Okay.
It was a little minute ago.
Yeah.
So 2017, 2018. And that's kind of when I made the transition from the V1 setup to the V2 setup. And from there, it was doing the wide body kit, wrapping the car, redoing bits of the interior, bucket seats, roll cage, new wheels. So really
everything.
changing it.
Yeah, pretty much everything. Yeah.
Changing a pretty good
Top to bottom.
pretty good area of the build other than like nitty gritty like motor stuff and performance stuff. So it really changed the look of the car, and that's kind of when I started taking social media a little bit more seriously too. So with the V1 setup, I think I was at 2,500 followers. I was literally just posting photos of my car, like snapshots here and there. It was like anything crazy. Stuff. It was more so posting my photo work. Because I was taking all my photos were my photos of the car, so I was mainly posting my own photos, and I like doing it that way. And then after releasing the V2 setup, my page started getting a lot more traction. It is more of a extravagant build at that point, given the color was blue, it's wide body, it's more done up, it's more of it's more standout-ish.
Would you say using your own photography mostly really paid off when the page did get more attention eventually?
Oh, that's a good point. I would say so. I really like that I stuck to myself, and the majority of my content was my own content. Yeah. And it also pushed my capabilities and always led me to grow in terms of my photography skills.
Gotcha.
Because I still use photography and just content building to this day, obviously. And without doing that from the get-go, I wouldn't be where I'm at in terms of having that knowledge and capabilities in the content building photography type of world.
Gotcha. Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
But with the V2 setup, that was something where it was a lot more diverse with it.
So at this time when you're building the V2, the whole thing was crazy and it's starting to pop off, right? When did you start branching out to start building your brand? Because at the same time, I know you started building Typical, but when does Typical start playing into the build?
So just to backtrack a little bit before that, at the time of V1, V2, I was kind of still in schooling and stuff like that, and I was also racing mountain bikes, because that was a big thing of growing up. Is I raced mountain bikes competitively, and that's why in like the V1, V2 setups, you see the bike rack on the roof, you see my bikes on the roof.
Shout out Cars with Bike Racks.
Yes.
Always sick.
So I always had a bike on my roof. Always brought, like when I brought my cars out to the shows, I had my bikes on the roof. I kind of color coordinated in a way with my race bike.
That's kind of what made me notice your car when I first moved here, because you rolled into like a meet, and just above everyone else's car, I just saw like
a bike.
I think it was a BMX bike, and I was like, oh, I gotta go play that guy in a game of bike. But then I missed my chance. But whatever.
So that was kind of the middle of the V1, V2 build. After V2, I kind of stopped racing bikes. Life kind of took over in a way. And that's when made the transition from the V2 to the V3. And then also with the V3 build introduction, I created the brand Typical, which is the brand that you might know affiliated with me.
Right, and what stemmed and what was the basis and foundation of this brand? What was the whole goal, purpose, idea, and how did this relate to you building cars?
And how did you like get the
message out there?
The starting idea for it? Like, what made you want to do that?
Yeah, that's a funny thing actually. So the brand originated from the bumper stickers on the back of the car.
Oh.
So with the V3 setup, one thing that I added to that car with the V3 setup was I added 2 bumper stickers. One on the driver's side, one on the passenger side on the rear bumper.
Inspire sadness?
Dude, the times I've heard that, I'd be a millionaire. So on one side it said prevent sadness. On the other side it said inspire happiness. And that was something where it was a message to myself. It was something where I created that message because it was a self-reminder to me. Every time I would look at the car, I would see that on the car, and it would be a self-reminder. So that's where that based out of. And then after I released V3, everybody noticed the bumper stickers, that message. And I got a lot of attraction in terms of people wanting the bumper stickers.
People connected with that so much that people were getting tattoos of it immediately.
That's crazy.
I think the tally count is 18 people have that message tattooed on their body.
Oh my god,
That's
which
insane,
is absolutely
too.
mind-blowing to me.
I remember seeing a dude with it on his knees, and I was like,
I know that.
"Oh, that's real." I was like, "Oh my god, that is crazy."
Which
That's got to be a crazy feeling.
I wanted to be the first to tattoo it on myself.
Party till I die.
I want to be the first to tattoo it on myself. And then I got a message from somebody who tattooed it on themselves, and I was like,
You can't be mad,
"Yeah,
dude. You
no,
can't be
that's
mad.
awesome."
Yeah.
it's gotta be-
So
insane.
I still need to do that on myself soon.
Okay.
But yeah, so that message stemmed into a lot of people liking that message, a lot of people wanting to run the bumper stickers on their cars. So I'm like, hell of it. Let's do something about it. Let's make stickers. Let's create a brand. That was my first stunt at my own thing, my first entrepreneurial path in terms of creating something. And I was super hyped about it because I've always had the mindset of creating something. And then I just took a shot at it. Pretty much the name is related to my previous Instagram name was Typical MK6. And then I changed it to Typical Steven, and then I created the brand Typical. And the reason I also created the brand, not only for the message, not only to kind of create a brand, was it being very mental health awareness focused. I wanted to put out a positive message, especially with the car community, but also just overall as well. It was something where it stemmed from the message of prevent sadness, inspire happiness, but I wanted to create a positive outlook on the community and do my part and try to help others in any ways I can. As one thing I also did throughout the whole span of my Instagram kind of life is I always put out positive message on my stories and wherever I could. So if you see like my stories and you see like a motivational video or inspiration video or some type of like quote, I always try to do that as much as possible. So that kind of influenced it too.
Yeah, which I think is really big of you, because support of mental health is I'm not going to say almost non-existent in the car scene, but there's a lot of negativity.
That was
There's
like
a lot
right
of
when all the
negativity.
corny sad boy shit was going on too. So
Yeah,
that's
your
that's
brand,
where
like, stood
that's
out
where it
because of
started.
that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everybody was just talking about it. Was like, I'm so sad about my blah, 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 blah. And yours
Right.
was like, hey, let's try to be better.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
exactly.
Let's think positive because
Yeah.
no matter what, if you're thinking negative, negative things are going to happen. If you're thinking positive, positive things are going to happen. You are a product of what you think.
So with that, you were even planning on like tearing down the whole car to start a whole nother version after V2 with the whole brand and everything, right?
Yeah, so like how I talked about with the whole bumper stickers and V3 and all that, I did a whole new setup with the car. So I rewrapped the car. I went back to white, which is actually the original color, but I wrapped it in a different shade of white, which people always just thought it was just the paint, but it was actually wrap. And then I also did the same wheels, but then I made them wider. I added camber. I did way more tire stretch, so that way my fitment was literally the flare was on the barrel.
We got to show that clip.
Yeah, dude, that was so good.
Yeah, that's
that was
right.
so good.
It's playing right now.
I was so stoked with how the fitment went because the flares that I had were actually plastic, so they were actually able to kind of bend and form as it hit the tire, and then going into the B to get that kind of fitment too. So I was pretty stoked on that. I did like new seats, steering wheel. I made some custom carbon trim on the interior.
Some massive aero.
Some massive aero. I did a full chassis mount front lip. Custom aero around the car as well, big rear diffuser. So the car looked much, much more aggressive, which that was the whole goal with. And at the same time with that, I bought myself a daily, an Audi A4. So that way I have something reliable off to the side, and then I can make my main project super aggressive.
Smart.
Yeah.
That was a smart move.
Yeah. Wish I would have thought of that one.
Yep. Same. And leading into this, like, V1 was, we'll say, pretty relaxed. V2 was a little more aggressive. V3, you're swinging for the fences, even more aggressive. And I would say every build was notable, right? And when you first did V2,
they had their own style on
Right.
each
Yeah.
one, and I experienced different things where it's like V1 I experienced from bone stock through bagging it, still daily driving it a bunch and everything. V2 I went a little bit more extreme with the wide body wheels, but I was still daily driving the car at the time and driving it a ton.
Yeah.
And then V3, then I branched into wanting to go even more extreme, and then having to get a daily because I just wanted I couldn't drive the car at that point because it was just too extreme.
Yeah, you didn't want to be stressed every day.
No,
Right.
not
Yeah.
like you.
yeah.
But yeah, so with the V3 setup, I was super stoked to release that. Got a lot of positive attention when I released that build too. Rocked that setup for pretty much like a year, or no, it was like
that build got so much positive attention that you got some
yeah.
solid accolades here.
Yep. So
Plus being clouded up.
Yeah, clouded up.
So with the V3 build, I entered a show that was at Formula D.
A little show that you may know.
Yeah. So it was a SEMA Young Gun qualifier event. So it was held at Formula Drift in Long Beach, and it was a regional qualifier to be a SEMA Young Gun kind of contender. And what that is, SEMA has a Battle of the Builders series where it's pretty much builders of their actual cars competing at SEMA. And they have a Young Gun series where it's under 27 aged builders competing. And they brought this regional qualifier event to Long Beach, and at this point I really didn't even know what SEMA was. I wasn't in the industry side at all. I was just like, it's a show, I get to see some drifting, cool. Entered it for fun.
Yeah, fun time.
Yeah, and then entered it, and I ended up winning the entire qualifier, which this qualifier, if you win, you get kind of what's called the golden ticket with this whole ordeal, and you get a pretty much free ticket to take your car to SEMA.
Not only that, they pay for everything.
They pay for everything too. So
Yeah.
airplane ticket, trailer, transporting your car to SEMA, all that paid for,
Damn, I didn't
like a
even know
full experience.
Oh,
Yeah.
As long as you win the regional qualifier, which they have these qualifiers all around the U.S. as well.
Did they give you money to gamble?
You did have like $1,000 spending money or something.
What?
Oh my
way.
god!
That's
Okay,
ridiculous.
I was making a joke.
Yeah.
It might be, or it might have been like 500 or something like that, but it was a really cool experience, especially given that I was fresh into kind of seeing the industry side, not knowing really what SEMA was. So it was a really cool experience, and I got to showcase my car at SEMA, which was super, super cool.
Yeah.
First time at SEMA, obviously. And then with that whole experience, we were kind of a group of us who are the golden ticket winners. A group of, I think it was like 10, 11 of us who shared the same experience. And then we spent the whole week at SEMA together. There was meetings set up for where we could meet important people, touring SEMA and everything like that. So it was a true experience put together for these Young Gun regional winners.
That's got to be
That's
so
awesome.
sick. Just
Yeah.
because it's so unlike any other show. It's not like you just signed up and whatever. Even for the shows that you get accepted,
Yeah.
it's not like that extreme.
Yeah. So for those who don't know what SEMA is, it's the largest automotive trade show in the world. And by trade show, it's not a public show, like a show that you could just buy tickets for and go to and watch. It's a trade show. So it's in a way a business show where automotive companies bring cars, they network, company owners go there and talk to other companies, talk to people who have built cars, all that. So
and you can only get in if you're in
Invited.
the industry.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to be part of a company. Your car has to be there. That's kind of the only way to get in. You have to be affiliated in the industry somehow.
And
I mean,
usually you got to pay to play in
Yeah.
order to get into SEMA.
Yep.
Even I
Big.
think it's like a big deal to just even get
Yeah.
a pass to walk around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
Let alone
yeah.
do the car thing. you know?
Yeah.
Like they have spots where it's people are paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just to showcase their car there.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that whole experience was surreal, and it completely changed my life to this day, just based off that experience and getting into the industry side of things. And that's where I started getting into the industry, started learning my way, started learning a lot. And that influenced my direction with what I want to take my builds, what I want to kind of take my path to creating something of my own, where I had typical, but I wanted to create my footprint really in the automotive industry by creating something cool. So
in like a serious way.
In a serious way. Yeah. So a couple years after that, this is like now going into COVID time. So it was just a funky time, not knowing what's going on.
It's a funky time.
It's a funky time. Groovy. And going into that, I had this idea where I've always had this idea, actually. Ever since I wide-bodied it originally, I've always wanted to create my own wide-body kit because I was never satisfied with the bolt-on flare kit I had. I never really liked the look, but it got me wide, but it was not my own. So I had the idea, let's make my own and see where it goes. So that's where the car is currently at, which is under the knife with the version 4 process, where I am creating my own wide body kit. And at first it was just going to be a one-off kit. I was just like, I just want to make my own. And then as I went into the process, I pretty much realized, like, I'm putting this much amount of work into the process. Why not create something out of it? Why not produce this as a kit? Why not sell this? I have a good following in the VW Audi community, especially the Mark 6 community. Why not market it and create something out of it, as I've always wanted to create something, so why not give this a shot?
Yeah, plus the popularity of the car itself makes that like
no
justifiable.
Brainer.
Yeah. Just to think about how sick it's going to be when like
it's done.
Yeah. And at first I was just like, nah, I don't want other people rocking I want it to be like special.
Yeah.
But then I realized my purpose that I set out to do is I always like helping others. I always like helping other people. And if this is something where it helps others create something that they genuinely enjoy in terms of building their car, I'm all for it. It's like if I could create something that makes other people happy, and it's fulfilling myself in terms of helping them, but also fulfilling myself in terms of creating something my own, that's awesome to me. So it's just a matter of doing the process correctly, figuring out where it's not an easy process at all, and it's something where it's been time consuming. I started it back in August, and it's April now, and there's still a long way to go. Pretty much with the version 4 setup, I'm getting it ready for SEMA 2022, and I still have a lot more to go, not just with the wide body, but I'm redoing a bunch of other things with the car too. So it's still a lot to go, but the main focal point is going to be the wide body creation and creating the overall company with it too.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. But I just can't believe it's not done yet.
Yeah, bro. just put in some actual effort. Try to get it done at least.
Oh, I know.
I've been on your Instagram for so long. Just
I've been watching you on TikTok, and you have like 30 videos of the same thing. Like, when's it gonna be done?
If you have been watching his socials or anything at all, it has been going on for a while, because that's how intense this process is.
Right. It's like people don't usually show this type of stuff. They only show it like when it's done. So I'm showing kind of the whole process with it. So of course it's going to take a lot of time, especially the way I'm doing it, where I'm creating a production kit with it too. But the GTI is also not the only car I've done or built as well. Like I mentioned before, I did have the Audi A4, which I did a couple things to in terms of suspension, wheels, stuff like that. Another car with the GTI that I'm not going to get rid of ever is my Trabant. And people don't know about this car. I don't expect most people to know about this car, but it's a personal piece to me. Like I said, I'm Hungarian, so it goes back to the roots with things, where both my parents came over in the 80s, and my father growing up actually had this car as like a childhood car.
Oh, weird.
So there's a lot of personal connections with this car, where growing up, whenever visiting back to Hungary, seeing this car in person or hearing stories like my dad talks about it, I've always wanted one from a young age, where years and years ago I promised my dad, like, what if I bring one home one day? what if I brought one home and bought one, and he didn't believe me, but this one came about, and I was just like, that's mine.
I'm gonna get
That's mine. I have to get it. And in particular, this one it has 10,000 original miles on it, and it's all original, so it's not restored or anything. And when I saw it for sale, I was just like, no, that can't be in the condition it's in or anything like that. And pulled the trigger on it, pulled off the transport when it actually arrived, and even my dad was speechless regarding it too. In the condition.
I didn't know that
awesome.
part at all. That's really cool.
So there's a lot of history behind the car, especially a lot of history for how it's attached to me. So that's definitely a prize piece, and you guys might be seeing some more stuff not involved to that Trabant, but possibly something else in the near future. So that'll be a cool one. And another cool old Euro car is my Mark I Rabbit. So
yeah.
So
another.
Forgot about that too.
I got some more cars. Yeah,
This guy's got a whole. He's got a whole. Speaking of eggs, he's got a whole carton of them. He's got 2 or 3.
But yeah, the Mark I Rabbit, I bought bone stock as well, all original, not molested or anything like that. And I was daily driving that for a bit, and then I put it on air suspension and built up a set of BBS RSs for it, and now it's just sitting on the street not being driven.
Nice.
Because now I got another new car.
Looks sick though. You got another.
Yeah, I picked up another egg.
Someone's gotta stop you, dude.
It's so
This is getting out of hand.
But, okay, this one has a reason. Okay.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Okay.
But are you gonna sell it when you're done?
I picked up actually I am.
Okay, maybe I'll buy it.
Okay, makes more sense.
I picked up another car. It's a Mark VI Golf, bone stock body, everything, and I'm using that to base the wide body kit off of, given that my GTI is kind of too far to the point where I want to use that as a reference car.
Yeah.
So I went out and bought a bone stock Golf to use as reference to build the kit off of. So.
Oh yeah.
But it also works as a good daily driver at the same time.
Yeah. Can I reserve that from you for $5,000 right now?
Let's go.
Okay.
That's how much I paid.
Oh, word. Perfect. I'll give you 4 then.
Oh shit. You're a haggler.
He is.
Yes.
Do you not remember what he said at Cars and Coffee?
What did I say?
There's somebody who bought their car for $10,000, and you were like, "I'll give you 5."
Oh yeah, the dude with the LS.
Oh my gosh.
What was his?
It was a Soarer or something like that.
No, he has it's like Rocket Boney.
Yeah, Rocket Boney.
Yeah.
He just got the Soarer.
Yeah.
That car is that shit honestly is worth more than $10,000. But
Yeah.
You'll give him 5.
Wild.
I'll give anybody 5, dog. You know. Hey, I threw that out to someone before and they took it, and then
Yeah.
that LS 430 was only $5,000. 50,000 original miles. Finesse that. Okay. Anyways, but yeah, that's you got way too many cars, dude.
Yeah, and I only
Yeah.
want more. I'm like every day I'm on Marketplace, just searching.
Same.
Marketplace is
So,
such a bad place to be.
It's tough, but yeah, there's going to be more cars added in the near future, so it's never stopping. Especially because once I get the shop space locked down, I'll actually have a proper space to store cars instead of on the street. So that's where it's gonna be bad.
Yeah, you're just
Real
gonna start.
It's gonna be really cool for you guys.
Stockpiling.
Yeah.
I want to see the R8 in there, but that's
Soon.
eventually.
Yeah.
Soon. But yeah, that's kind of a little rundown where I'm probably missing a lot of things, but yeah, that's a little bit about kind of
Steven's history.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, about kind of what I've done, cars. There's a lot of stuff I'm missing though. But if you guys ever have any questions, feel free to DM me. It's you'll get a response from me. You could ask me whatever you want to ask. So feel free to reach out.
What color's your underwear?
Well,
No, I don't want to know. Anyways, I think
now that we're brought up to speed, I think that brings us right into our
current event.
current event.
What?
Straight into the current
What is this week's, Tyler? Tell me all about it.
current event. I'm all enthused. I'm all enthused about it. Florida revokes 400 imported Japanese titles. Okay, now before we jump into this, I don't want anybody to get all butthurt and be like, "Oh, they're revoking all these JDM cars." No, it is a list of 400 cars that were imported improperly and illegally. It doesn't mean that importing cars from Japan is currently illegal. It's just the way that this company, we won't name him, has brought these cars to America illegitimately.
Oh, we should name them.
Yes.
No, screw anybody who does that and then sells it to people just to get their car repossessed.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is we'll kind of talk about it. So right here, I'll read. This is Florida Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles. This is a letter. It says, "To whom it may concern, the Florida Highway Patrol's Bureau of Criminal Investigation and Intelligence concluded an investigation resulting in approximately 400 vehicles titled being canceled/revoked in Florida. The investigation primarily involved the businesses Soho Alliance LLC, Soho Imports LLC, and J-Spec Garage LLC, amongst others. The investigation primarily focuses. The investigation's primary focus was on fraudulent application for titles in the state of Florida." Okay, so
I didn't know J-Spec was involved.
I'm sorry.
There used to be a J-Spec over by me too. Okay, no,
Right.
go ahead.
So
There's probably
unfortunately,
like 10.
yeah. So unfortunately, these cars, this list of 400 cars, were brought in over illegitimately in Florida, and now somebody's probably getting reamed at the bureau, and they're like doing an audit or something. And they're like, "Bro, this whole list here
Is
is
super illegal.
super illegal, and they should not have gotten in this way, and you got to fix it." Now, the thing that's kind of weird if you read about all these things that kind of sucks is when we had a problem similarly like this in the past with Motor X. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Motor X or any of these companies. Well, they used to do imports for like Japanese cars, and some of these Motor X cars famously or infamously were R34s, and those R34s kind of got grandfathered in for the people who purchased them, can own them as a Motor X car because the people who at Motor X, got in trouble, paid their fines, whatever. But the people who own those cars kind of got grandfathered in and said, this isn't your fault. This is this company's fault. So you guys can just keep these. We made a mistake. Whereas these 400 cars are being revoked and they're being contacted and sought after, as in they cannot drive these legally on the street.
Yeah.
Now, these 400 cars, who knows where they may be now? They're probably not in Florida anymore.
Yeah. They got to be some of these S15s, dude.
Right.
Because a lot of people are bringing those in right now, and those are not legal yet. And
Yeah.
There's all sorts of loopholes and everything.
Well, isn't there the common way where it's like people are registering them as like S13s and things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like it's so easy to get caught.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so that's the thing with these ones that kind of sucks is the people who've had these who weren't aware and thought that they bought a legitimate car.
They thought it was legal.
Yeah, they thought it was legal. So now there are a couple things that I've heard, like when people are getting the call for these, if their car is on this list, again, from our knowledge and what's been released, there's only 400.
Only 400.
Only 400. That's a lot,
Yeah.
right? But
And that's just Florida.
right. And they're being contacted. Well, I think the problem is with Florida right now is that they dove in and they're like, hey, this is specifically a problem. The thing that sucks is they're not going after just the companies saying, hey, this is not okay. They're going after the people who now own those cars.
Mhm.
They're not, from my understanding, they're not being repossessed, but they're saying if you drive this on the street,
You're
it will,
done.
it
It
will
will
be
be taken.
it will be taken. So
Yeah,
if
sure.
it's only a track built car or for
Oh.
show, whatever, fine.
That's nice.
But-
I mean, that's not.
At least they're not like taking the car and crushing it.
Yeah. I
'Cause
had a
that's
buddy.
that's what they used to do.
Yeah, I had a buddy back in Virginia. It happened to him before I met him, but then I met him and he told me the story. He bought a imported Supra. I don't know who from, but it was a long time ago. He put like a crazy amount of money into it, and just one day, feds came knocking at the door. And they were like, "Hey, this car was stolen in Japan and then sold here and then sold to you. We're taking it." And they just took it and crushed it. And he saw not a cent back from that.
Which
He
is
just-
crazy because at the time he had like what 40 grand plus into that car.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, I mean, just imagine someone knocks on your door and takes your most prized possession. And is like, "Hey, tough marbles, dog, crush it." Like, not even just like hold it somewhere until things get figured out. Just straight up, your car just got cubed.
Right. There's the thing that sucks in that kind of market space is because there's no protection for the buyer at this point. And somebody may correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe I'm just, I don't know.
I'm not too deep into the whole importing process and all that. I used to live by Japanese Classics in Virginia. It was over by the airport, kind of by my house, and I saw a little bit of how that process like worked on like after they get here, and there's like walking around showrooms and had some friends who worked there, but I never got too detailed into like the legality of how these things become ready to bring over here.
Right.
There's a gnarly process with it, not just with, let's say, importing cars that are, let's say, of age, but just also importing in terms of the legalities of smog too, where it's just like there's a lot of cars that just won't pass in terms of certain things,
especially here in California.
Especially here in
California,
doubly strict.
And, like I had to encounter that as well with, for example, the Trabant, because it's newer than 75. So in California, pre-75, you're able to get away with no smog. Post-75, you actually have to smog your car. So anything post-75, it has to pass emissions. And
no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah. Unfortunately, with the Trabant, there's no way that was possible with that. So I had to take it into my own hands. And if you're interested to find out what I did, you could DM me. But I'm not going to share that here.
Unless you're the feds. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you narc. I see you. I see you, narc.
As we go down, as I'm going through this article a little bit more, I'm going to say right here before we even get any further, do not take anything that we state here for 100% facts. If you're interested in this, do your due diligence.
Yeah, we're just kind of reporting.
Make sure that you know what's going on. And if this could impact you, do your research. Don't just take our word for it, because I'm just going based off of things that we hear inside the scene.
If you know more than us or have anything to correct upon what we're saying,
please enlighten us.
Drop it down below.
Comment. Yeah, seriously, correct us.
We're just talking about it.
Yeah. But referring back to this article and what you had said earlier, it said while the majority of these JDM cars are R34 Nissan Skylines, S15s.
Yep.
And a lot of other cars that were not 25 years or older. And the crazy thing is that the window for these vehicles being registered is a huge window from 2014 to 2020.
Yeah. That's just wild.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That is a ton.
But it just shows, like, if you don't do it the right way, it's going to come back, because all these people that, let's say, they've had their car for 8 years now, and now they get this letter saying, like, oh, yeah, you're blacklisted. And it's like 8 years later.
Yeah, it almost doesn't even make sense. But
I think that they should be grandfathered in like the Motor X things. Again, this should be a slap on the wrist for the department.
That would be nice.
For not catching it, right? Saying, hey, we messed up, we made a mistake, and a slap on the wrist, and obviously and fines and whatever for the companies who did this.
You know what solution would fix all of this?
Making it
just
legal.
Don't put a time limit on it and just allow anything to come here.
Yeah, that'd be nice. But when
true.
has the government ever done anything sick? Never.
No.
Nothing.
Yeah, that sucks.
But yeah, I mean, just imagine your whole life. I can't even.
And there's you're most like, because honestly, I love GTRs, and I previously, before buying my Porsche, I was gonna import an R32 GTR, and because there were so many hoops that I needed to jump through, that unfortunately kind of turned me off from the experience, which is why I didn't want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, this has happened. This isn't like a new thing that's going on. It's just this is a recent occurrence of it. But I mean, especially with GTRs and stuff, it's just like seems to be always a problem. And we're seeing now, like with the R34, like really not too far away from coming over here. A lot of people are like buying them in Japan, putting them in a shop, and having people take care of them in Japan, all the way until they become fully legal to bring over here.
Well, you could bring them over, but just keep it out of the way, not register or anything like that. And just wait till it's actually legal to actually register, so you could bring it out. But then there's ways to do it too, where it's like there's like a show car or type of way where it's like you can only drive the car like 1,000 miles
like
or 2,000 miles.
demo car stuff.
Yeah, demo cars. Like there's little ways like that where there are ways to do it legal, because there's R34s legally.
Yeah, it's
here
called
in the
show and
US.
display.
Yeah.
Where you
Yeah.
had a show and display, you can't drive more than 2,500
But
miles.
the
a year.
way to do that type of stuff, I'm not very knowledgeable about. But all I know is it's very difficult to get cars over and
Yeah.
accepted under those circumstances too.
So as we may not have much insight towards this situation and like much knowledge legality wise as to what these people can do or what they have to go through, I just think that is kind of scary for the scene.
Yeah, it's like terrifying to think that this can be any of us. That you could buy a.
What if this turns into parts?
Yeah, you could buy a car. Think about like any of these reputable import places that you trust just because of previous experience. Any of these places could honestly do this. It's really all reliant on like the owners and workers just being good people. I think at the end of the day.
So if you want to be completely safe in these times, just wait.
Yeah,
Just wait.
Yeah.
There's
Just
honestly
move to Japan.
there's plenty of cool stuff that you could get right now, and still build something cool.
Like what, dude? Like what?
Yeah.
GTI, bro.
Dude,
Yeah, watch out.
we don't have anything cool here, bro.
But yeah, it's something like there's a lot of hype around these JDM icon cars like GTRs, R33, R34, stuff like that. So there's a lot of, I'd say, hype as well. A lot of people want those cars just because they're popular too.
Yeah, I saw a S15 just chilling at the last like Origins thing I went to a while ago. It was just up front, and I was like,
don't know how that got
Probably
here.
registered as an S13.
yeah, like everybody who walks by that car is like, how is this here? And then if you find the person and try to talk to them about it, no one will tell you. It's all like super on the down low, which I mean, I think most car people are aware of this, but it's still scary that when you see like, oh,
we're just taking them.
Yep, we caught 400. It's like, is the next time going to be like, oh, we caught 3,200?
Like
Right.
there's certain states that like just don't care. You could register a lawnmower as a fucking
Shout out
car.
Arizona.
So
I know Arizona's actually getting a little more strict now, too.
they're kind of strict.
Oh,
it's
I did
kind of
see
like Midwest. They're a little bit more lenient.
I saw a really funny TikTok from Arizona police of like, I don't want to get into it, but just this absolute tool, like flipping up his visor and be like, if you haven't modified exams, we're gonna blah blah blah. It's like, that's what you're doing on the job, dude. Sick.
That's what you're doing with taxpayers' money.
Go do something, dude. Find a real issue. But
with that, I think this perfect way to move into what we call the late night callouts.
The late night callouts.
and we're all picking dudes whose cars are about to get crushed. No, I'm just kidding.
They're all R34s that are illegally in the States.
And we're going to drop their name, their address, their social security number, their
VIN.
And we will send you a piece of the car free of charge,
Yeah.
except it's going to be 3 payments of $89.99.
So
Nice.
which one do you want to go first? Tyler? You wanna
I
go first
guess I
again?
can go first
Let's do it.
again.
Light
Let's
it up.
see.
So my shout out this time is to somebody who's probably well known in the industry, but I don't know if many of you guys up and coming or just in the car scene who like modified cars know this guy. His name is Chris Ashton, and Ashton, I believe is his last name. He makes the most unreal cars, and why I want to shout him out is because I have the utmost respect for people who hand build these wild machines where they do metal work, they do wide bodies, like build things from the frame up. So
like not just putting suspension on, wheels on, stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
no.
ground up builds.
ground
It's
up
wild.
and absolutely insane. So Chris's company, I guess you could call it, is Ruffins.
Ruffian cars. or
Ruffian
something-
cars, something like that. But he's built a replica GT40 that he has 3D printed and metal worked these wide body fenders. So it's a wide body GT40, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the body work out of the car is insane. It looks like a GT40, but with his own touches on the car too.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's absolutely wild. The headlights are one off. His front splitter diffuser,
Mm-hmm.
one off. The taillights are from a modern Mustang. It's crazy.
The engine setup's wild as well.
Yeah, the engine setup is wild. It has a roof scoop that actually scoops in air. It's ridiculous.
Functional
it's wild.
Roof scoop.
Actually functional.
And I actually found this guy on YouTube, his builds, like going over his builds and doing interviews, and I was just so captivated by all of the detail and things that he goes into with these cars and how humble the guy is. And so I kind of wanted to shout him out. More of you guys should watch him. He's got 100K followers, but I feel like the guy deserves way more because his cars are insane.
Seeing his car in person at SEMA this past year, the GT40, it was absolutely insane. Like, I spent 20 minutes looking over everything on that car, and the detail.
my bad.
The detail out of the car is insane. It's one thing seeing a photo of a car or a video of a car over your phone. It's another thing seeing it up close and
In person,
looking at it. It's just insane. And his level of execution with his previous builds as well.
They're just nuts. Yeah. And so all of you guys who may not be into the GT40 or the Mustang, he has a current build that he has multiple of them, but one of them being an RX-7. So all of you JDM guys, it's he's getting right in our lane, and I think he's gonna do it some justice.
Hell yeah.
So
I didn't know about this guy. I'm gonna have to check out more of his stuff.
Yeah, he's wild.
Yeah, you're gonna be stunned.
Definitely a lot of people, I would say, on the scene side probably don't.
Unfamiliar.
It's something where more so on the industry side, he's a big figurehead in SEMA with bringing his builds to SEMA, being on Tread Pass, stuff like that. So it's definitely cool.
Oh yeah. What are you feeling this week?
Ooh, what am I feeling? So my call out for the week is also going to be somebody that is fairly known, but I definitely want to give his build some love on here. His IG is Cams86. So Cameron's 86 it's insane. So 20-year-old kid, and his level of work into this car is absolutely insane. He learned everything. This is his first time doing everything that he's doing to his car. It's a full tube chassis, LS3 swap, 86. I think it's an LS3.
Yeah,
but it's an LS swap, full tube chassis. Did push rod rear suspension. He did custom 8-to-1 headers.
Which is insane, and I'm so excited to hear it. But the thing is like the guy's level of creativity doing this stuff, being his first time doing it, is insane. Yeah.
You need to go follow him and watch his stories, watch everything he posts, because pretty much every day, he's posting stories of little things he's doing around the car, like his fuel feed lines, his AN lines he's running underneath the car, this metal piece that he's adding here, just all these different things the amount of detail into this car, he's touching everything on the car and putting his own twist on it. Just the engine setup with the 8-to-1 headers, the LS swap, the whole tube chassis, push rod suspension, all the interior, he's doing all custom metal fab work in terms of creating the dash, the firewall, the whole chassis ground up. And it's based off of an 86. So the level of craftsmanship, and then what's cool is he's going to be competing as a SEMA Young Gun this upcoming year with the car. So I'm really excited to see. He's gonna blow my GTI out of the water.
He's also
hands down on that.
He's gonna blow my Porsche. I don't even care, bro. I'm just gonna be excited to try and be there.
I'm excited to see the potential in the industry for him. Just based off him only being 20 years old, based off what he's built so far and what he could do. I'm so excited to see what the future holds for him.
Yeah.
How about you, Alex?
Yeah, Alex.
Last but not least.
So mine is a guy who finished his car kind of around the same time that I finished mine. So I gotta shout him out. Big white car gang. Dude out in Australia will run. It's a Toyota Majesta. It's all custom, like wide body fab work that he did himself, and posted every millisecond of the work on TikTok. It's insane. You gotta see it. The wheels are like 14 and a half, maybe 15 wides with
my God.
Wait, what?
8-inch lips. It's also rear mount twin turbo setup. It's insane. It has probably like negative 8 or 10 degrees of camber. It's like so immaculate, static.
But it's like properly well done.
Oh yeah, it's all like metalwork, door jams, everything.
That's insane.
And he like just finished it, and then I think like a week later, he looked at the front bumper and was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a full custom one. He's already tearing it back.
See,
apart,
I appreciate those level of builds so much, given that it's like there's a lot of people like, let's say, we're like, oh, just performance, this and that, and a lot of people are like, just stance, screw performance.
Both.
He combined both, and I always love seeing that where it's properly executed.
Yeah. This is definitely
the quality is there. It's well done, but it's a mix of both, and ultimately, it's his style.
Yep.
So that's really cool.
And it's all just, I mean, obviously, like the guys you talked about are all doing their own work, but I'm unused to seeing in my kind of realm of things of people doing that much in detail of like their own body work and paint and all that stuff. So it's super sick to see him doing something like that, and he's super like cool, upbeat guy, and I don't know. It's you should definitely check him out if you haven't. Will Run.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's over in Kangaroo Land, right?
Yeah, he's in Australia.
Australia. Australia.
Toyota Majesta.
See, we don't have that car over here.
No.
So
I
I wish we could get all the crowns and stuff. That would be a
Yeah.
major game changer, dude.
Speaking of importing cars,
Yeah.
let's try to import that one over.
Yeah, I want the new one, dude. It's so nice. Anyways, but yeah, shout out to all the
shout outs.
Those were some good
Australian
call outs
dudes.
this week.
Yeah.
And if you ever want us to know about your builds, comment, DM us if you're ever interested, or you want us to potentially call you out if your build is cool enough and we want to see it.
We just vibe with it, definitely.
Yeah.
Tag us in all your guys'
Tag
pictures
us,
and everything.
comment, DM, whatever
Right.
it means. We always love seeing new builds that we've never seen before.
Yep.
And giving
Thank you guys
love.
so much for watching. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Hit that notification bell.
Oh yeah,
Get
some
notified.
of y'all are watching this.
Like.
Some of y'all are watching this and you're not subscribed. Subscribe. We're going far. We're gonna keep doing this. Some of y'all think that we're not gonna keep producing these, but
We're going
we got the haters.
all the way.
Hey, just like my channel, even if no one's watching, I'm gonna keep putting these out.
Right.
So
Facts.
We're gonna keep putting these out. Thank you everybody who's listening on Spotify. You guys mean the world. Not just the YouTube. We love you guys too, but Spotify, it's crazy. You guys just want to
Everywhere.
hear us talk. Everybody, we're
Yeah.
appreciative of all the love and support that we've gotten so
I've
far.
never had somebody just want to listen to me.
we still don't. Don't worry. It's okay. Anyways, we're gonna
We're gonna peace out.
Peace out.
later.